had a massive amount of amaranth growing everywhere, growing wild everywhere you would turn in this neighborhood. They were all over the place and so fresh. So my husband said to me, see, sustainability in simple terms means being able to thrive using the various materials of food crops available in your local environment. And that made a lot of sense. So instead of us driving kilometers to get to the shops where we would get vegetables that came from hundreds of kilometers away, my husband would go out early in the morning to forage for amaranth. We even gathered a good amount of seeds from the foraged amaranth plants he brought back to be planted when we have our own space for planting. Now, why did I share this story? It's because I'm trying to point our minds towards the blessings we have in our immediate environments, which are there for our benefit. You don't have to spend money on everything when you can just go out into the wild and get things for yourself, or even plant them in the space around where you live. And this story of amaranth is just one example of what's possible if we maximize what's in our environment. I know we told you that we had planted our own crops in our garden, some months ago. This environment beats us into humility. But we have learned exactly what it needs and what a powerful blessing rain is. So some of our crops just straight up failed and refused to produce anything. But beans were like, we're not sorry. Jute mallow was thriving, it was a very interesting lesson, and we're still persisting. Oh, and cherry tomatoes will grow even on stony ground. It's just great for us to know this. Anyway, we'll probably see if we can share an update on what happened with our garden later on. I am digressing majorly. Foraging and hunter-gathering in Africa is not primitive or backward or about poverty. It isn't. In fact, in the US, since people like to reference the US so much, it's actually become quite a hot trend. And the very foreigners who told Africans that it's primitive to forage or hunt-gather are the same ones who are now coming to African communities and villages to learn how to do the very same things they once called primitive. They capture these African community activities and videos, upload them to YouTube or write articles about them on their blog sites, and Africans will go and watch them or subscribe to them as if it's some premium exotic content, but it's one village away. And it's the same way they said Africans were living on trees like monkeys. But have you asked yourself where the concept of tree houses that you find in 5-star resorts which are advertised in popular magazines come from? Or have you asked why Europeans or people from the West don't stay in cities when they come for vacations in Africa? They mostly go to the very villages that they said were primitive. Why is that? They know that cities are mostly polluted, and they want places with fresh and clean air and water and a green environment, calm, no noise. So while you, Mr. or Miss Young African Child, want to run to Europe or America to go experience greener pastures, the very Europeans and Americans are trooping into Africa, buying up land to build the very things they once called primitive and which you believed. As an African, all these things that Europeans are now looking for in Africa belong to you as an inheritance. So use them, and use them very well without apology, and safeguard them for the generations to come. In conclusion, I encourage you to do your due diligence. Search online for the nutritional values of each of the vegetables I've mentioned. Look around your local communities to find out what else they use or have used in the past. You would be surprised. Things that were called weeds are actually vegetables of great power and strength. They have antimicrobial properties. They will bring down your blood pressure with ease. They will nourish your cells. It's just, we have to look.